This is the hard part about chickens in the wintertime. Frozen water. These little rubber bowls are so nice. All you gotta do is step on them, stomp them, and break the ice out of them. Fill them back up. Here you go, girls. Watch out. I usually bring up a gallon of water and I heat it up. So it's melting all the snow off of it. The chickens absolutely love the mealworms. It's been a tough winter for the chickens. It being our first year with chickens and fighting the temperatures and the snow, we've learned a lot. We've done a lot of things wrong, things that we wouldn't do it that way again. We've fought the cold and we've fought a lot of predators. I think that's been the hardest thing this winter, is fighting the predators. Mr. Bobcat he's really handed it to us. He's pretty smart, pretty crafty. He can open doors, hop fences, and he is ruthless. This past week we were taking care of the chickens and we were here on site, and all of a sudden we had the chickens come running down the road, which is different for them. So instantly knew that something wasn't right. So went over to the chicken coop, which was only a couple hundred feet away, and started looking around, and sure enough there was bobcat prints in the snow. And then there was feathers, and then there was blood and feathers, and we followed the prints, and not 50 feet back into the trees behind the chicken coop, you could see where Mr. Bobcat had just torn into one of the chickens, and I think I had interrupted his lunch and showed up. So it's kind of an eerie feeling to feel like we were here on the property and we had let the chickens out and they were running around and we were watching them, and midday, full sun, Mr. Bobcat decided to help himself to one of the chickens right in front of us. I think it was a real eye-opener that those animals, when they're hungry, are absolutely fearless and they'll do whatever it takes to get lunch. So we've got to improve our security a little bit, and the plan is these fences that we have now, especially with a foot of snow or 2 foot of snow, they're just not tall enough. So we're gonna add another 4 foot of fence, and we're gonna throw a net over the top. And I don't think we'll mess with that now and fight the snow, but as soon as things start to warm up, we'll get to work on the fence and the net, and I think we'll do another batch of chicks. Last year we did 25. This year we'll do another 25. Last year we didn't get started until July. This year I think we'll get started a lot earlier. It was tough that we started in July and we didn't start getting eggs until end of November, 1st of December. The chickens have been a ton of fun. The kids love them. We love the eggs. The eggs are delicious, way better than store-bought. We've been doing the the side-by-side comparison on the eggs, and hands down our eggs are way better than anything that the grocery store's got. A little more expensive. It was funny to think that by the time we got that first egg, we had invested $300 or $400 into setting up the chickens and buying the chickens and feeding the chickens, and that first egg that came along was a $400 egg. Since then, as more and more eggs have come along, we keep dividing that number. Anybody who wants to live a more rural lifestyle, wants to be a little more self-sufficient, chickens is a fantastic place to start, where you can provide your own food. Every time I crack an egg into the skillet in the morning and think, hey, that came off of my property and I didn't have to drive down the road and pay somebody at Walmart or at the grocery store or wherever, that we did that for ourselves, is a real sense of accomplishment, a sense of freedom, and chickens are a really easy place to start. One of the other interesting points that the visit from Mr. Bobcat has brought up is protecting ourselves, protecting our kids from predators that are out here. One of the real concerns, initially before we knew what we were up against, what if this predator is a mountain lion? Mountain lions are fearless. They'll grab a deer, they'll grab a person, whatever. A chicken for a mountain lion is just a snack. How do we defend ourselves against something like a mountain lion? I mean, as I was following those footprints and the blood and the feathers, looking for Mr. Bobcat in the trees, it was a real eerie sense of, what if he's not happy that I'm here messing up his lunch? What if he decides to jump out on me? So it's brought up this conversation of how do we best defend ourselves? How do we protect ourselves from predators that don't see us any different than they see our livestock, and would happily attack us if they felt threatened. So I think that has started the discussion of how do we get the kids in a hunter safety program. When do we start going to the range more and shooting more often, and how do we better protect ourselves in this environment? And that's not some crazy talk about we all need to carry guns and you should carry a gun like you're in a military zone and maybe even carry 2 of them. It's if the kids or anybody was to see a predator or to see livestock being attacked by a predator, could we stop that attack? Could we defend not only our livestock but defend ourselves? And what tools would we use to do that? And does everybody here on the property have the ability to use those tools? So the idea is to get the kids into hunter safety and to just spend more time at the shooting range and getting more comfortable with those tools that we could use to defend ourselves here on the property. So that's the fun of this whole adventure of living this more rural lifestyle, homesteading, being out here in the country, whatever you want to call it, is that we get to learn all of these lessons that we would otherwise we get to learn all these lessons that we would otherwise miss out on sitting on the couch watching TV with curb and gutter in front of our house. So it's some hard lessons. That chicken carcass was a little hard on the kids, but I think it was a real eye-opener to the life cycle and to the realities of the world, which is a lesson that I can't teach any other way. I don't think that's course curriculum over at the public school. So an expensive lesson, but a good one, and that's why we're here. That's why we love this lifestyle, and we love sharing it with all of you.